Hey everyone, my name is Brian. This is week two's discussion case studies for Picolli textbook, chapters 3 and chapters 4. First case study this week was in regards to e-loan docs. The company was founded in 1994, and they really pioneered the transformation from all paper loan mortgage documents to web-based signing, being able to utilize technology to seamlessly improve the ability to sign these documents. Anybody's bought a house, they know that it's an incredibly daunting process. We just bought one about 2 months ago, and I can't imagine not being able to use our web-based hub with everything online and be able to really greatly improve that experience. It improved the closing time from about 90 days down to roughly 30 or so days current time. And in order to do this, they built a proprietary technology, launching the document posting service, which was a software as a service program that they sold and had rapid adoption by mortgage lenders due to its ability to seamlessly improve this process. They did have some difficulty scaling. They didn't have enough data infrastructure and security in order to have the backing they needed for all these financial and legal documents. In order to help this, they actually acquired a company, Fastforms, in 2007, and they moved their primary data site to Seattle. And then they made their original one in Cleveland kind of the redundant one. So they were able to battle power outages and give that security and backup that their customers needed to feel comfortable in utilizing them as a company. They achieved the status as the industry leader. And as data centers that they currently own get to the end of their usable life, they're starting to wonder, do they need to make that change to cloud computing, to those more centralized cloud data centers in order for them to be able to continue to compete? Next chapter, case study for chapter 4, we look at Ivy University. Quick summary of that is a mid-tier, fairly prestigious university, and they're looking at that adoption to online learning. They noticed a lot of their competitors over COVID-19 kind of used it as a way to disrupt the way education is being seen nowadays. We see companies like Coursera and Udemy and many other asynchronous learning platforms be able to offer job readiness certifications versus that original degree learning that we saw, historically over the last hundreds of years. In doing so, it fits better into that learner's lifestyle. Some people learn better asynchronous and not being quite as structured, and it allows it to focus more directly on that learning. So we saw jobs like tech and software development and sales go into options like this where they can learn just the skills needed for the job. However, for Ivy University, it makes it hard for them to keep up with those. Those options are more affordable, they're easier, and very appealing as we see education costs go up significantly over the last couple of decades. So Dean Pigney is looking for a way, can he capture that digital trend that's going on while still maintaining that strong university name and the brand that already has that global recognition? They're seeing a decrease in enrollment in their executive education, and they're having difficulties with this global expansion. So he's wondering how can he adopt this asynchronous model to better compete. And this gets to be difficult when you worry about prestige. And we see a lot of schools, Ohio University or many others that offer MBA programs like this, jump into that online learning, that asynchronous learning, because it is effective and gives them ability to compete. It allows people to continue to work while they learn and upskill and grow themselves rather than traditionally take time off from those. And it is very appealing for students like myself and like many others in this program. And James McAfee, who's a leading researcher in this area, had a great quote. Why would people come to a single physical location at higher and higher costs when that knowledge is no longer scarce. We're able to get that knowledge in many other places. And this is what Team Epiphany is trying to solve. So let's try to look at some current market trends. That adoption of cloud computing and AI is running rampant right now. And it is a prime example of Christensen's disruptive innovation theory. It's not just improving upon something that exists, it's creating a whole other way to go about these situations. If we look back at even loan docs, some of their competitors are able to just jump into a cloud computing data center right now and start that company, right? Those software service companies, those platform and service companies, startups are able to grow significantly and very, very quickly by not having to worry about data management on the back end. Loan docs, on the other hand, has this big question mark. Is it worth the cost for them to go into these when they already have something established, or is it easier to just update what they already have? And this really helps benefit those newer companies coming into the market. There's a much lower barrier to entry, which leads to a lot faster innovation. And Loan Docs thinks maybe it's beneficial for us to make this change now, and then we can continue to grow. So a lot of companies have to think whether they're established, whether they're new. Does it need to be scalable? Do their customers need them to have that extra data privacy, data security? Or are they comfortable with that slightly older way of doing things because they are more comfortable with this? In our textbook, they speak a lot to how that lower barrier to entry can help turn into faster innovation. And that's really what cloud computing, what AI can help create. So a big question is, how can companies adapt? How can we adopt these cloud-based solutions? Cloud-based solutions offer scalability. They offer growth. They offer low barrier to entry. But in order to adopt these, we also really need to think about regulatory compliance. When you think about security, working in healthcare, every day we're hearing about health startups or other companies that are going to help make us more efficient. But if they don't offer that HIPAA security or general privacy that we have to follow for our governing bodies, we can't integrate them. And that's even if it will integrate with the software that we have with our current workflows, which can be inundated, can be older, can be slower, because we have to continue to match those. And it can make that adoption, at least in healthcare, pretty difficult, or in banking and finance, or other areas that have difficulty with that growth because we have those laws and regulations that we have to follow. Patients don't feel comfortable with use of AI and data at times because they're concerned about their privacy, their health information. Where does that go? Who has the ability to access it? So it's one of the biggest things right now with these cloud-based solutions. If we are trying to adopt it, it's one, do we need to? Do we need this scale? Do we have to make this change? And if so, is that worth the lack of control that we have in our data privacy, transparency with governing bodies? And then are the costs feasible? Right? We see costs going up and up with these cloud-based solutions. And rightfully so. They're very strong, powerful technology that can really help companies grow. But we need to make sure first as we adopt those, is that the right one? And then are we going to make sure that that rollout is done strategically so that it can be effective? Spoken about this throughout already some in this presentation. But as we look at that expansion of AI in different industries, education with Ivy University, trying to keep up with those asynchronous learning academies. Goal setting theory is a really good one to focus on here. Individuals learn well when they have a goal and they have something structured to go towards. WGU, or Western Governors University, is probably a prime example of a college or university taking on the school setting theory, making it asynchronous, and becoming a market leader. They're becoming very accessible to those other ones. You can get degree learning at your own pace in your own time, as fast or as slow as you want. They're the first ones to really take that, Coursera, that Udemy, that focused learning, and turn it into a degree program, which a lot more are now. And it has shown to be quite popular. Healthcare, as I've spoken about already, is really trying to improve that partnership. So maybe not use AI as our main backing or cloud as our backing, but how can we use those in a partnership? How can we use that provider, that clinician's knowledge, help it with AI to either make it more efficient with medical scribing or more accurate with imaging and test results to help give that patient best treatment possible without giving up that power that we have as humans, without giving up that privacy. And a final question would be, is implementation of cloud computing and AI a necessity to succeed in today's market? I would say if it's not now, it will be. Everybody is looking for that edge in order to continue to grow. And if that current company doesn't do it, I feel that one behind it, the next one up, will find a way to improve upon what it is. So I would argue that yes, it is a necessity, if not now, in the near future. And here are the references. Thank you.